So I'm going to turn my light on. All right, everybody, we're already recording, are we not?
Looks that way.
Hello, patrons. You may notice someone is missing. this is our woefully late September Patreon episode. We are now on the 13th day of October. I'm working in reverse. Gilbert is on the road, and we desperately needed an episode for Patreon, so you're looking at it. And I'm going to go around and introduce
little bastards.
What's that? Yeah, right. What was that, Uncle Don?
Supposedly.
Allegedly. Yeah.
Allegedly. Let me go around and introduce everybody. This is essentially the social media team plus one. And we'll introduce Dan. Josh Chambers, identify yourself. Wave. Josh, hey. That is Twitter Josh. Some of you know him. He is the, what would you like to be referred to as? Twitter guru? Twitter sensei?
Sensei sounds fantastic.
You like that?
I love that, Frank.
Tweet Ulrich. Pick anything. That's a reach, that joke.
Ouch.
Josh, I don't know where everybody is situated, so I can't say to Josh's left or to below Josh because I'm just assuming. So Dino, raise your hand.
That's me.
That is Dino Proserpio. He is our Instagram, again, guru, sensei, leader, master, maestro. When did you come on? What's that?
Schmuck, I said.
Okay.
I think it was it January or February of this year?
So you're the new kid.
All right.
Hazing to commence. Greg Pear, ladies and gentlemen. You will recognize Greg from trivia games, the Rabbi's trivia games. You may also recognize him from the wonderful Christmas episode where he pulled out his vast toy collection.
Oh.
And we're going to do something similar tonight. But we're not going to say what it is. Last but not least, Daniel. Dan Frank is, you prefer Dan or Daniel?
Daniel.
Dan, he prefers Daniel, so I'll call him Dan. Daniel is our grand prize winner from one of the Rabbi's trivia nights, one of the Patreon trivia nights. When did you win that, Dan?
Late February.
Okay, so here we are paying off in October.
Hey, at least it was this year. At least it was in
this fiscal year.
I could have said something earlier. I didn't want to be a nudge.
We're a little tardy. Dan, what you came in first, and the prize was he gets to be a guest on a future podcast episode, and this is it. So we're gonna
you better enjoy yourself, is what he's saying.
Yes. The future is now, as they say in the Hudsucker Proxy. I bet you didn't think you were going to be doing one without Gilbert. The joke's on you, my friend. Tell us about yourself quickly. Tell us, some cool stuff, like how you discovered the show, first episode, your favorite episode.
Sure. I was doing comedy for several years, starting in college, early 90s in Austin, Texas. Moved to here, Los Angeles, trying to get into show business. This was 98, 99. That didn't quite work out and gave up around 2009. So
I'm sorry to hear that.
What are you gonna do?
You telling me that you've been packing and you're in Los Angeles now, but I'm looking at an apartment full of boxes.
I'm actually moving back to Austin.
You're moving back to Austin, Texas?
Yes.
Good for you. Well, that's a happening town.
Yeah. And I can afford a house there, unlike Los Angeles.
That's great. Well, it's not like you're moving to Sheboygan. I mean, Austin is alive and active. Absolutely. And there's an art scene I'm sure you'll dive into.
Absolutely.
Oh, good. Well, we wish you a world of luck with that. Tell us how you discovered this ridiculous podcast.
Through former guest Aaron Lee.
Aaron Lee.
I knew him through stand-up. We did the same open mics. And about once a year, we'd bump into each other through a charity thing around Christmas. And we're talking, I think I might have been pushing Cliff Nefteroff's book or something, and he was saying, "Oh, you got to listen to Gilbert Gottfried has a podcast," and I had already been impressed. I had seen Gilbert on Norm Macdonald's video podcast
I see.
and was impressed that he told the Buddy Hackett, Lou Costello strawberry malted story,
I see.
which I had seen that as a kid.
Uh-huh. He's
And
only
I
told
was-
that once on the podcast. Did you know that?
What?
He's only told it once. In 600 shows.
So you were scarred by Bud and
No.
Lou as a kid, is what you're saying.
Scarred by the Bud and Lou movie, as I think most of us were.
Yeah.
Who hasn't been?
Who hasn't been? And so you decided to give the show a try.
And I had just finished. I had the complete Bob and Ray CDs on, and I'd been listening to that for a commute, and I was about finished with that. So I did it. I basically did it in order, first through last. This was just before the move to Stitcher, and I finished just as Stitcher.
Wow.
That we lost the archives. Perfect timing.
So you're a completist.
I was a completist.
Good for you. I appreciate that. And if
Yeah.
Gilbert were here, I don't think he'd appreciate it.
Right.
So I'll appreciate it for the two of us.
That's
Have
fair
you
enough.
heard every episode?
I heard every episode.
Look at this guy. Well, you
Nice
are-
work, Daniel. Nice work.
If we're gonna give a trivia prize to somebody 10 months late, it should at least be somebody who's passionate about the show.
Sure. To be fair, like in later trivia contests, I've seen them going, man, I wouldn't have won if that had been the contest.
I see.
And I think like if there had been a couple more questions, it was really close.
Okay.
It was,
Well,
it was a
listen,
really close.
don't diminish your accomplishments.
Okay, fair enough. The one I most remember was the Robert Bader episode.
Oh well, there
Yes.
was a Robert Bader episode solo, and then we
Solo.
brought him back with Bill Marx and on
the
a
solo
Marx
one,
Brothers
where he was
panel.
plugging the book.
Right. So three, and then he
And-
came back with Cavett.
Right.
Right.
Just because, and Cavett says this on the back of Bader's book, I had thought I knew everything about the Marx Brothers, and I immediately bought the book after that episode. And the story I tell is when he said, oh no, Duck Soup was totally successful. It did great in the box office. I was driving, I almost had an accident. Like, what the hell? Because we all know the myth. Oh, but
Sure,
Duck Soup
sure.
was a bomb. That's why
Sure.
Paramount dropped them.
So Bader was the episode for you.
It's a great episode. I mean,
Okay.
a lot of them are great.
Okay.
There are some where I like initially you're like, and we have our guest so and so. I won't name names, and who cares? And then you all always suck me in, and like, oh, okay.
Well, that's a nice compliment. I like reading that when people post it. I had no idea who this person was, and I came in not caring, and by the end, I was in love with them. And thank you for making them so interesting. So
It's even better than that because I knew who they were. I had a negative opinion of them.
I see.
But they were charming on the show.
Well,
I was like, I need to rethink my opinion of this.
I
person.
greatly appreciate that, and I'm glad that we have the ability to do that. We'll come back to you, DF.
Fair enough.
Let me go to my friend Greg Pear. And Greg, you've been with us the longest.
Jumped in on to help out with Twitter in 2016, I believe.
Jesus. Wow.
This month, October 2016. I talked to you on the phone.
Well, happy anniversary. 5 years.
Happy 5th anniversary.
I should send you another Warner Brothers glass.
That's the Orange Wedge. The 5th anniversary's Orange
I'll
Wedge.
send you some merch. I'll have Gilbert sign something. And you were doing Twitter for the most
Make it a
part.
check. Make him sign a check.
Check is good. Let me make a note of that. Check for Greg. You were doing Twitter at the time, and then you went off in all kinds of different directions. Josh, when did you join us?
I'm thinking late May, early June of last year. My first episode with you guys was the Airplane Roundtable.
That was a good one.
That was a fantastic one to come in on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It took about 12 hours to teach Julie Haggerty how to use voice memo on her phone. But it was worth the journey. as they say. So Greg used to be solely responsible for Twitter, and then Josh came along, and then they were kind of splitting it up and divvying up part of it, and then Greg has gone off in 50 or 60 different creative directions, and doing some YouTube stuff, making some fun videos. He makes a lot those behind the scenes videos that we've run here on Patreon, which are terrific, and I'm sure there'll be more to come. But Greg,
Yes.
that's a segue.
Oh, but
tell us your
Greg.
new Patreon related project.
I've promoted myself to head of special projects.
I like that.
So, I'm happy to pass off Twitter to Josh, who's ran with it. I was happy to pass off Instagram to Dino, who's doing fantastic work with it.
Yes, Dino's doing wonderful. Both of them are doing yeoman work.
And I've been concentrating on some couple of other things. And the main thing I want to talk about is the official Gilbert Gottfried's Amazing Colossal Podcast Discord server that we're going to have available for our Patreon members. Mm-hmm. And dubbed the Electric Orange Wedge. I'm going to show you right now. It is a great social platform for members of the Patreon group to get together and to interact, be a real community. Anybody who's used Patreon or has been on Patreon knows it's not that great of a platform for socializing. It's pretty
poor,
pretty
actually.
It's pretty boring. Facebook has all these bells and whistles that everybody seems to flock to. Well, guess what? We can have an exclusive community on Discord that has all the same bells and whistles, and we can do stuff and post stuff and talk about things easily on Discord. That would be a bit of a bother on Facebook because of their pedantic one post after another post after another post. Here we've got a whole slew over on the left side of the screen, a whole slew of what they call channels. And each one could be a subject or a topic that people can go in and discuss. If you want to talk about movies, you can go to the movies channel. If you want to go to TV and talk about something you've just seen on TV or an old TV show, you can go in there and find like-minded people to discuss things with you. We've also got GGACP specific channels, like we can talk about, we can show fan art. People can post their fan art in this channel. And we can go down here. We can ask Frank a question. There's a welcome to Ask Frank. This is the start of the Ask Frank private channel. Have a question or comment for the amazing colossal co-host Frank Santapadre. Post it here for Frank to see. Frank, this is a place for the fans of the show who are Patreon members to interact with you. You can log on and check it out with that, and check out what they have to say, and maybe answer back to them.
I will be a presence there when we launch this.
When people first join, they're going to come in into the Hello There, which is sort of our green room. And and over the past couple of months, we've had about a dozen people beta testing the site. So we figured out sort of the bells and whistles and how things work. And the one thing that we figured out that's great that you might be seeing here on the screen is this. We can do, and let me just size it up here. And also let me increase it so it's bigger. You can, increase things. We can do our own custom emojis. So we've gone nuts here, making things with Paul Lynn and Cesar Romero and Jerry Lewis and
Marty Allen.
Marks. Yeah. And we have a channel where if people want us to contribute and add emojis to the site, we can use them instead of your typical smiley faces and thumbs up. In fact, our custom thumbs up was suggested by Michelle Mentian, Tim Matheson as Otter from Animal House, giving the thumbs up at the end of the movie.
The coffee table, the glass table next.
We finally have a coffee table. Yes,
nice touch.
There's really no other emoji the fans really need other than the glass coffee table.
That's
well, two. Combine two emojis together.
Need the wedge. I mean,
made in a children's hospital. You're all monsters. Go ahead.
Man built a lot of hospitals.
Fair enough.
Built a hospital for children for free.
Refer to the Dave Attell episode
Right.
for a fun reference.
What's really
this is great, Greg.
Yeah, and we have other categories. I am going to post about any posts on the Patreon account will be duplicated here on our Discord server, the Electric Orange Wedge, as well as channels to discuss the latest episodes.
Oh, look
so
at
here
that.
we can talk about number 384 with Dino. I'm not going to pronounce his last name because I can't pronounce his last name.
Stamatopoulos.
Thank you. And I've gone ahead and posted the images that are used in all our social media accounts, and
this is great.
Already looks like our Dino and Yanni have started a discussion about the episode. From Dominatrix to Telly Savalas.
Nice to know you were a
Yes.
Telly Savalas fan, Dino. I didn't know that about you.
I would have gotten fired if I wasn't,
You
right?
bury the lead.
The last thing I want to discuss is that I think it's pretty exciting. Voice channels. People can actually enter a channel and talk like we're doing. As a matter of fact, you can also do video. It's sort of like a built-in Zoom in Discord.
This is great.
Here's an episode where we can just talk about the current podcast, and as you can see, I can turn on my camera and I can be in this chat room as well, and other people can join in and have a discussion just like what we're doing on camera. And they can like I'm going to show some Halloween costumes. They can share items. They can do things visually.
Okay. So this is great. So let's reiterate too that this is only for Patreon members. This is only for patrons.
That is correct.
Electric Orange Wedge. This is really an attempt to, in some ways, as Greg points out, not only is Patreon not set up for this kind of interaction, but we're going to do a little bit of migrating away from Facebook and try to make this a home.
That's right.
Facebook will still be there. The fan pages will still be up. Our official Facebook page, run by Michelle Mantinen, who couldn't join us tonight, will still be there. But we want to try this out as a way for us to interact, put up videos, as Greg says, put your voice in there.
Absolutely, and we'll do a Patreon post giving the invite link for our Patreon members to join it, and once you join and are made a member of the of GGACP's Electric Orange Wedge, look for the smiling Cesar Romero Joker, and you'll be all set.
This is elaborate. I guess there's going to be a little learning curve as people, figure out how to navigate.
It's a community. Yeah, it's to be used by people, and it'll evolve over time. And I'm hoping to see it grow. And there's ways to expand a Discord server by adding custom GIFs and all sorts of things. It all depends on how much this is used. So I'm leaving it up to the Patreon community to come in and have fun with this. This is their playground.
Good. We'll make sure they do. So patrons, this is exclusive to you guys. It's our Patreon. What are we calling it? Our Patreon social media destination.
Yep.
And pretty much you guys can do anything in here.
Yep.
And if you ask me a question, I'll be there to answer it. I'll be checking it a couple of times a day. There's an Ask the Admins too. You can ask Josh or Michelle or Greg a question.
Yep.
As well. And you comment on the latest episodes, comment on the serious show that you heard.
Now there's a channel about Gilbert.
Look at that.
I wouldn't expect Gilbert showing up.
Gilbert will not be on the.
Gilbert will not be on this Discord server.
We're going to have somebody come on as Gilbert.
Yes, maybe that'd be great. That'd be a special perk. But this is a place to talk about Gilbert. We can talk about him behind his back right here.
Oh, we can just do that right on this call.
Yes.
We don't need them to learn the new program. So
Right.
there's a little bit of everything, something for everyone, and we're going to make that announcement soon. We're going to give everybody exclusive sign-in information.
What's this newsletter thing I see over there?
Now that's something. We got a channel about a newsletter, and I'll leave that to Frank.
I'm glad you asked, sir. What a segue he gave me. Josh,
Wow.
as we change screens, thank you, Greg. This has been Greg's labor of love for a couple of months, and we've done a lot of beta testing, as he said, with the inside group, and it's exciting.
I use the Discord, but I will use the Discord for this.
And you can use it on your desktop computer. They have a mobile app. You can go anywhere you want and still be in touch with your fellow podcast crazies.
And you'll learn about Dino. You'll learn that he loves Telly Savalas. That he loves bad Joe Spinell movies. All the things I learned about him at lunch recently. But since we brought up the newsletter, thank you for the segue, Dan. We're going to turn it over to Josh.
No off switch on the Genius.
Yes, no off switch on the Genius. Thank you, Mr. Letterman. We're going to go over to Twitter Josh here, who's going to explain what that means and his pet project for Patreon people only.
That's right. So within the last month, got this wild idea while helping Greg established Discord. What about those that still like that traditional look and feel of old school newsletters and zines? I know most of us here have publishing in their background, Frank especially, and we all have that love for those old, like, I'm not going to say Teen Beat magazines, but the old fan rags of yesteryear. So
my former writing partner was the editor-in-chief of a teen mag called Bop. Does anybody remember Bop?
Rings a bell.
It was like a Tiger Beat knockoff.
80s, 90s, what
90s.
that Frank?
Yeah, well, I'm talking about the era of paper. Maybe some of you remember it.
What?
This wood pulp product. Go on.
I grew up on papyrus. I think I know what you
Well,
mean.
listen, you're an outlier.
Slate.
As you back to you, Josh.
Okay. Well, what we have here is a merge of digital and traditional, and I'll do a little share.
Wait, this is
What
like
you're seeing?
it's exciting. It's like a TED Talk.
So this is edition 1. It's a little raw. I farmed it out to the pals, and we've got submissions from, well, Greg got involved, and Michelle got involved, Yanni got involved, Frank, you're in this.
Mm-hmm.
We just loaded it on with the intent that we'll get it started. We'll continue to supply, and maybe, I mean, I think this first issue is 14 pages. Who knows how large it'll go, with the idea that the patrons can contribute as well. So, interactivity not as instant as Discord necessarily, but still, let's have a little bit of fun. So yeah, that's my Latin, our little on our masthead there. We have.
I caught it.
You got it. So lots of plugs, internal plugs for what we've got going on. As Greg just mentioned, Discord.
Look at that integration. The kids call that.
Photo funnies, contests. So hey, you got a good picture, please send it to us. Orange wedges found in the wild, whatever you have. The birth dates of the previous guests. I mean, hey, come on, tomorrow's Greg Evigan's birthday. More patrons, shameless plugs. The rabbi gets his own column.
Wow, the rabbi has a column.
He does.
Now it's serious.
It's sweet too. I mean, it's a mix of some serious and some not so serious. We got our plugs. We have an old Groucho competition. So please, regale us with your long-winded.
How does the old Groucho competition work exactly?
In my day, there were these things that it just goes on for.
But they're going to do it in print form.
That's what they call those schools.
And it has to end with because. That certain brother was always strapped.
You could gravitate that over to Discord and have, since Greg pointed out that people could leave voice messages, they could leave their Groucho impressions, and we can actually do an audio contest.
Dave, right here, Frank, we could add it in there because we already have inner submissions on the Discord channel. And we could do voice.
You guys are too good. You're too good. You're ahead of me.
Plugs for stuff, jokes that will come later. Oh, we need to focus on this. Get the buzz going now.
This is great.
This is Michelle.
That's great.
This is an advice column from the Gypsy Woman and the Wolfman. For those of you who, of course, I'm speaking to. There are a few people among this group that are uninitiated. So.
Right. So it was wonderful, and I'm gonna say, and Greg, I think. What, about 4 days from me putting up the call, please send me stuff to me getting the stuff. Assembly took no time at all. And now that we have a first edition, it'll be simple to keep it going. Oh, there's Dan's.
This is Dan Fisher's piece. Yeah.
And Dan's all in. I reached out. He's going to keep producing pieces and then keep
the Jerry Lewis video assist is one of the
yeah.
I love that.
A rain-soaked cake.
1 meter album. Excellent.
Yeah.
Oh my God! Yeah,
I had a Joe Dorita funeral card, a mass card. I gave it to Tom Leopold.
Yeah,
but yeah, it didn't look like that.
I don't want to give away too much, but we will have. I think this was a monthly idea we had, a Fast Five where we'll at random select a Patreon submission, ask 5 questions. I think Frank, it was you, myself, and with the rabbi who did the first round. So we'll get our answers in there. Then hopefully from here on out, we'll get more audience interaction. Hey, that's me. There's
Look at
Hervé.
that.
Hello there.
This is dense. There's a lot to digest
Yeah.
here in this newsletter.
Great. It looks
Even
great.
snuck in a little Richard. So, and I won't go much further, but Yanni has agreed to be our resident philosopher and
Wow.
supply, and it's kind of serious.
Wow.
Yet fun.
Johnny brings the academic, the GGACP. It's fantastic.
So you get a little glass top coffee table and a little Kierkegaard.
Right.
Again, something for everyone.
It's, Rich.
Thank you, Yanni.
Yep.
That's,
So again, I'm not going to give away everything, but you know, we have a lot of hope in this.
It's packed, my friend.
It's
What
packed.
now? What is the timetable? When are we going to go to these lovely patrons who are watching now, who generously support this show and spring this newsletter on them?
I think it's ready now. As long as it has your blessing, Frank, I think we could push it out.
Okay, so we'll do it in a couple of days.
Okay.
We'll make
already
it official.
already working on the Thanksgiving edition for next month.
So this newsletter is going to be digital and monthly.
Yes.
Okay, but it's gonna connect to Discord in certain ways too. I see that you've tied them together.
Right.
Yeah, we'll use Discord as the sourcing of material for the newsletter. We're going to encourage all the Patreons to submit articles for Josh to consider.
Wonderful. Okay.
We did create a Gmail account for it as well, in case the Discord gets a little too scary at first for people. But yeah, we could accept entries and submissions both ways.
Wonderful. Okay. I'm out of questions about these. Any other questions? Dino or Dan, do you have any questions about what you've just seen? I feel like Joe Franklin.
Yeah. No, it looks fantastic. I'm trying to figure out what I could contribute. It's you got a lot of stuff in there.
Thing, and
We'll
I'm
figure it
trying to
out.
remember the name of the guy who always does these great things on Facebook. Rich.
Oh, you mean the artist Steve Hanna?
Oh, Steve Hanna, Chris
Oh,
Sapin,
you're talking about Ralph Castaneda.
Ralph Castaneda.
Ralph Castaneda.
Right. Yeah, he's pretty prolific. We'll have to figure out a way to work Ralph in too.
I posted a thing once. It was like Michael Jackson had a line of toys based on his pets. Like I didn't know they had come out, so I was posting a thing. And then like an hour later, he does like, it's the Gilbert Gottfried. And it was like the same ad. I was like, wow, I inspired a Ralph Castaneda.
He's prolific.
That's the second.
You know what I would like to see in the newsletter is Dino. I would like to see film recommendations from you every month, because you've got your finger on a pulse of a type of film that not everybody knows about.
Yeah.
I got harassed last week on a podcast when they put the question to me, do you watch anything from the past 30 years? And I had no good answer immediately. So,
Well, since Greg brought that up, Dino, and forgive me because I dropped the ball by not asking you. Tell us about the company that you work for and the kind of films that they put out.
I work for Vinegar Syndrome, a cult releasing film company. We do refer to it as cult movies that what we put out, but a lot of them are, we put out everything from Blu-ray of Sweet Sweetback's Badass Song to Paul Schrader's Patty Hearst to Orgy of the Dead, which I think I just gave a copy of.
You gave me a copy of Orgy of the Dead. Thank you.
Yeah, the Ed Wood movie. We've put out a line of what we consider classic era erotica, old 70s and early 80s porn films, classic porn films. All kinds of low end horror, but really, there's no. I kind of agree with the philosophy. There's no idea that these are quote unquote bad films. These are just movies, and I think we might have put out our most recent movie, which was Resurrection, a Christopher Lambert movie from '99. I think that's maybe the most recent thing.
Wow,
that's 30 years.
Yeah, there you go.
Diane Lane's ex-husband.
It's kind of a Russell Mulcahy movie that he it's in the vein of Seven. It might be better than Seven.
Okay.
And I work in a portion of it which is called the Archive, which is their allied retail store in Bridgeport, Connecticut. We have 3 floors of physical media, Blu-rays, DVDs, VHS, and records. And the records are my end of things. I've been a record dealer for 15 or so years. Yeah, I'm very lucky to be there. So
it's sort of like the Criterion Collection Vault, but with a lot more tits and slasher movies.
Yes, absolutely.
He gave
all
me
the
a
things
copy
you
of-
want, all the things you really want from Criterion, but you're afraid to ask.
Hollywood
Criterion
Horror House.
has
These are some of the
stuff.
titles Dino gave
Right.
me at lunch.
Hollywood Horror House is Joe Besser's final movie, I believe.
Joe Besser on the back.
Does he do?
Yanni, if you're watching,
Joe Besser shtick is my question.
I handed Frank a stack of movies, and he said, "It seems every one of these has a severed head on the back," which I swear was not the theme. I did not plan this one. I chose movies I thought he would like, but there you go.
there's this. I point out the severed head.
Yeah, Dear
Question.
Dead Delilah.
Dear Dead Delilah. Yeah.
So yeah. So I work. I'm very lucky to work in physical media.
New title,
and- yeah,
Severed
there you
Head.
go. Severed Head. Yeah.
It seems to be a recurring motif.
It's not a tradition I knew of, but Frank is more accurate than I am. That's a film that I chose because
Severed Head.
yeah, that's got Robert Sacchi in it, which is one of the guys that Frank never misses a chance to mention. He played the man with Bogart's face.
Yes.
Oh.
He just died. We just lost him.
Yes, he was
Yeah.
Bogart longer than Bogart was Bogart. Correct.
Yes. There is not a severed head on the back of Orgy of the Dead.
Ah.
I'm gravely disappointed.
I'm gonna get in the van and drive over right now to fix this. Okay. As soon as we're
Dino,
done.
tell us
Yes.
kind of how you've that's not an easy word to say. How you've revolutionized Instagram since you came aboard. Our Instagram, was a little bit had slowed down a little bit. It wasn't our best foot forward.
Hey, I'm right here.
I'll tell.
Not personal, Greg.
Yeah,
But it was
well,
Greg had too much on his plate.
no, that's look. I think the division of labor here is actually really one of the best parts of this team. I think Frank did a good job of giving people things that needed to be done. And Greg, I mean, you've done plenty for this podcast. You've done
A lot.
You're still doing a shitload. I can't figure out how Discord works, but I'm a guy who still uses CDs in my car. So what do you want from me?
Greg has done everything for.
I'm
for
sure.
this show.
I'm sure. Honestly, it really goes. I'll tell the origin story. I contacted Frank last year, and I said I mentioned, hey, what's going on with the Instagram? And I've worked in different media industries and promotion jobs and whatnot, but I'm not the kind of guy who's going to say, hey, I noticed you haven't updated your Instagram. Boy, that sucks, and just walk away. That's just I didn't have a plan, but
That's the same
Frank
thing
just-
I did. Yeah, it's the same thing I did with Twitter in
Yeah.
2016.
yeah, I'd much rather go ahead. Sorry.
You both took pity on us, essentially, is what happened. And
I-
McPadden too. Let's give credit to McPadden, who made
Oh.
the same phone call to me and said, "My God, you guys need a real Facebook page."
the late great Mike McPadden. Yes.
We're old guys, Gilbert and me. We defer to this social media generation. I'm certain that I had never used Instagram until Greg showed up in my life, or knew how to download it.
I'm usually telling my friends in their 20s, hey, I'm old guys. What do you want from me? So
I know how to interview Larry Storch. I know how to do. I know how to
Fair enough.
research, but I don't. These platforms. I'm
Mhm.
still trying. I'm trying to wrap my brain around TikTok. Anyway, Greg showed up. McPadden showed up. Josh showed up. You guys.
I wanted to help because I saw that it hadn't been taken care of in a while. And so when I started, I decided I wasn't just going to promote every single current show or new show per week, but I wanted to make up. Don't take this the wrong way, Greg. I wanted to make up for every week that we had missed. So I was doing on average 2 posts a week, one for the current show, and then working in reverse chronological order for the ones previous until I caught up in time, based on the idea that every single episode deserved its own post. And in between, I started, doing on occasional promotional things. Like we just promoted the Rod Serling event in Binghamton,
yeah.
Serling Fest.
Yeah,
There's
thank you
certain
for
things,
that.
certain things along those lines that we add as well. And then stories. The stories are 24-hour posts. They appear on your base Instagram page, on your little avatar, and I'm constantly adding different stuff. I hate to use the word content. We used to say art,
Okay.
but different things usually shared from other people that are applicable to the GGACP audience. Different pieces of miscellany, whether they be videos or just screenshots or someone's birthday or whatnot. And I mean, the feedback that I get from that alone,
Great.
celebrities and previous guests, some of them are like, I can't believe you keep doing this every damn day, as if to say, I don't know how pathetic your life really is.
I know Bierko reached out to you, and a little bit of trivia.
Yeah.
You want to tell them?
I knew that Craig Bierko is from my hometown and went to my high school. But I didn't know until he mentioned it to me that we grew up 12 houses apart on the same street. So occasionally I harass Craig Bierko because we actually are still friends with the same high school teacher. So he's not much lamer than I am. But yeah, so I just engage with the fans. I can say that I've now gone, I think, 6 days since somebody has asked me if I am Gilbert Gottfried, which is always good.
That's a record.
Yeah, it is. Well, honestly, most people, there are now fans who contact me or send messages every day. I have people who respond constantly to the things that I'm posting. There's a lot of back and forth, and it's an obsessive, addictive platform. I won't deny that. And I manage 4 different accounts at this point. But nevertheless, it's the kind of thing that it does require somebody being there a lot. I'm very bad with choosing my priorities. So there you are. I'm the perfect person for it. In other words,
we thank you, and this is an opportunity to tell the patrons. I keep saying the patrons, go to our Instagram and check out what Dino has done, and then go way.
I'm grateful for the opportunity to, like, I'm having a blast. Like, again, the guests of the podcast who've complimented me, like Mario Cantone's a guy I grew up seeing on Steam Pipe Alley, where he was, where he had a children's show where he made fun of the fact that Sammy Davis had one eye.
Yeah. Find Sammy's eye in the pie.
Exactly. And now he's complimenting me on the job I'm doing on Instagram. And that's I'm
glad.
That blows my mind. I'm really glad to do it. And I'm glad to serve. That's it.
Well, welcome to the team. You've been a big contributor. And thank God you rescued that format from Pear, is all I can say.
Rescue. I pried it from his hands.
A cold dead hand. Sorry, real life intervened, and I was off it for about 6 months. All right.
So Greg is basically.
We don't have that many episodes to catch up on. Let's just put it in perspective.
So for those keeping notes at home, Greg is clearly a smarter man than I am.
Right.
But,
yeah, I got out.
He was only tweeting, making videos, trying to figure out our YouTube channel, and doing about 6 other things.
Yes.
So you are all indispensable, and I'm terribly grateful for all of you. We're gonna. Did I leave anything out before we go to the big payoff? Anybody have any other questions about Instagram or the newsletter or Discord? I'll have plenty.
I do want to mention though that since we're giving credit where credit's due, Michelle's doing a fantastic job.
Let's shout out Michelle.
She picked up where McBeardo,
yes,
as he's affectionately known, left off, and even though he's greatly missed, we're grateful for Michelle to pick up the baton and run with it.
Yes. Michelle Mantinin, and she was going to be here tonight. Work came up. You've seen her on the Zoom calls we've done for trivia night. Took over the page as Greg points out from Mike, and she's done a wonderful job. And you'll see her on Discord. Pop in and say hello, and obviously she's going to be a big part of the newsletter.
And I do want to say, between all of us that do the socials, the sharing of information, the communication, the lines are open all the time. It's fantastic. So we have like a little community within the community,
Yeah.
and we just really enjoy it.
And this is the main group. I mean, this is the main cast here, aside from Michelle. But the rabbi is a big contributor.
Yep. And,
on a regular basis, and
Yeah.
he does.
And Photiatis is
Photiatis
a
too.
wonderful, wonderful member of the community.
Yes, as is
Yes.
John Murray, who's done wonderful work and saved many episodes audio-wise, and contributes music, and John contributes music, and we can't leave out Seth and McGinty, and now we have a wonderful intern working with us, Jared Piantadosi. And so it's corny to say it takes a village, but it does. It's this whole thing is a labor of love, and without you guys, really nothing happens. I'm alone in a dark
The
room.
real question, Frank, is when are you getting us jackets? We were
Coming.
looking for matching jackets. So.
My wife has just started talking to t-shirt manufacturers today.
Wow,
Ooh.
not bad.
There will, to paraphrase Paul Anka, there will be shirts.
Wow,
The guys get shirts.
I honestly had no idea.
Shirts.
All right, Greg, because this is technically it's a September episode, but we're Halloween is breathing down our necks.
Right.
And you are the master collector of Halloween costumes.
I don't know about that, but I do have a couple. In the newsletter, there is a page devoted to Halloween costumes that exist, that are real costumes, that are
Yes.
based on podcast guests.
Yes.
And
believe it or not.
I only own 3 of the ones that I posted, but there are many others. I'm not going to tell you. See the newsletter to see them all. But here's one of them. It's Dick Van Dyke from Chitty Chitty Bang Bang.
Wow.
Wow.
Look at that.
This character, I just want to take out the mask so you can see. I forget the name of his character. I wrote it in.
I forgot too.
Mr. Chitty. I don't.
Where does one acquire these such costumes?
The main place is eBay. About 20 years ago, I started collecting them because it was just a sort of a sideline collectible that no one was really paying attention to. So you could pick them up cheap on eBay. Most of them were in rough shape, so people don't think they're worth much. And honestly, I'm a cheap collector, so I'm only willing to spend like $20, $30 on something. And if I can get it for that, then that's great. But nowadays, it seems like it's become a key collectible. It seems
looks like Julie Andrews to me. His
Character's
character's
name is
Dick Van Dyke, Mary Tyler Moore.
You got it.
What was his character's name? Do you know? Go ahead.
Correct. Character. Wait.
Caracterus?
Correct. Wait.
Caracticus.
Caracticus Potts. That's it.
Caracticus Potts.
Yes.
Yes.
No wonder they put Dick Van Dyke on there.
Exactly.
And the second one I have is
We should send that to Dick.
John
this
Shuck.
This is our friend John
from
Shuck.
Holmes and Yo-Yo.
Wow.
And how many of those do you have with you, Greg?
I apparently picked up a wholesale lot of
Not one.
Holmes and Yo-Yo.
3
costumes.
yo-yo costumes.
So if anybody's looking for one, get in touch with me. I'm happy to part with one.
We're
I wanna
going to
send
mail
one
one
to
to
John.
Tennessee to John.
Yes, absolutely. And the likeness is kind of there. It's
A spitting image. It looks like Maury Amsterdam.
John, right? Or Tony Curtis.
Tony
Burt Ward
Curtis.
a little. Burt Ward a little.
Oh, Burt Ward. Sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Looks like Dondi. Do you remember Dondi from the Sunday comics? Black
But I
eyes.
wanted to show you a couple of.
Nothing like
I've
John
got
Shuck.
a bunch, but I took some out of the box to show you. I mean, like as a collectible, it runs the gamut. I mean, every subject matter is available. I collect mostly the movies and TV, the pop culture related ones. So I've got cartoon and TV show related
Oh,
ones.
look
like
at that.
This one on the
lovely.
Banana Splits,
De
Hanna
Niro.
Barbera live action show that was a host show for animated shows.
Does anybody remember that ridiculous myth, that rumor that was floating around that Robert De Niro was a young Fleagle on the Banana Splits? Did you ever
I
hear
find that hard to believe.
Oh.
He would have to be down in in Texas. I think they were shooting that out of Texas. or something like that.
Wherever they shot that thing. in.
Also, advertising was fair game for costumes. This is the Jolly
Oh, look
Green
at
Giant.
that. Huh. That's impressive.
Now, notice an important thing about costumes of that era.
What's that?
it has the name of the person on the costume.
Right. You
know,
Right.
now a Spider-Man costume looks like Spider-Man. When I was a kid, it had a picture of Spider-Man and Spider-Man.
got to explain to the
Exactly.
homeowner.
It came on the box, so you knew exactly what you were getting.
And those are tell us about Ben Cooper, which was the company that made most of those.
Ben Cooper was the primary costume maker of our childhood. They were big in the 60s and 70s. Then a second company came in called Collegeville, decided to move in on the racket of costumes, and they lasted a while. They lasted well into the 80s. Cooper kind of petered out at the early 80s. So Collegeville and Ben Cooper are main companies. Before then, there were two other brands that were much older. Like, for example, the Jolly Green Giant was from a company called Halco, and they were a novelty company. The costumes weren't their only product.
Well, when we think of the 60s and we think of that lightweight plastic mask and the shitty piece of elastic, we're mostly thinking about Ben Cooper, right?
Thinking about that logo with Cooper written in the circle right there.
Again, it's a picture of the costume's a picture of the Hulk, and it says the Hulk.
The Hulk, right?
Exactly.
Let there be no mistake.
60s, I was a kid in the late 70s. They were still like that.
Yeah.
Well, you don't want to confuse your Hulk with your Jolly Green Giant.
Well,
Right.
fair.
I mean, like, okay, sure. You show up to the door like this, ding dong. Who are you? Oh, I'm the $6 million man.
Oh, I was going to say you're George Takei.
What are you, stupid? Just read my button. I mean, what? The bionic guy didn't give it away?
Wait a minute. Isn't that the same as is that a replica of the John Shuck mask with a bionic eye?
It is.
It's a repurposed Shuck.
They have Derek White guy. That's what they do.
Well, at least it's not a repurposed Soupy Sales.
Oh, that's painful.
It's my favorite one.
It looks like Greg Brady.
That one actually looks like him. I'll give him that.
Yep. And when they started out, they were cloth costumes. They were meant to last a little bit, and then they got cheap, and they did the rayon and the vinyl, which it was only supposed to last a day.
When did they get good?
What do you want for $1.29?
Sure.
When did they get good? Because now you go to a store and it's like perfect.
Oh, first of all, you go to. I have 5 kids, so Halloween usually costs us about $100 to $150 to costume up all the kids. You're dropping $40 a kid.
Wow.
But
Times have changed.
They're genuinely good costumes, though. To be fair,
The Green Hornet Ben Cooper that you sent me, Greg,
Yes.
which I thank you for. I don't have it here with me. It's in the living room. I assume that you paid a little bit more than $1.60 for that one.
Oh yeah. No, there are some things that are worth
you.
going over my usually cheap bids on eBay, especially because of the rarity and my affection for them, and also when I see a deal, I'll pick it up. Even if I have one, I'll pick up a second one if I say, well, that's going cheap, I'm going to get that, and you got the benefit of my duplicate Green Hornet costume.
You're a prince, and now John Shuck is gonna reap the benefit of you having 3 yo-yos.
Well, here's some repurposing, just to show you some repurposing. Here you
That
have
came out wrong.
Captain America, but in 1967, they needed to make a super president costume.
Super president.
Which is actually a pretty good show. If you watch, it's on YouTube. It's actually a good cartoon for the Pepe Freeling of all places.
Do you have any costumes from Irwin Mainway?
Where's your Johnny Human Torch?
Johnny Human Torch.
Oh, sorry, I'm out of Johnny Human Torch.
Johnny Space Commander.
Dumb question. Did they ever do a Columbo?
Is there a Columbo?
There is no Columbo costume. I would jump on that in a heartbeat.
Wow.
That needs to be done. But you could be the push me pull you from
Dr. Dolittle.
This is kind of odd.
That is obscure.
And of course, yes, you're right, Dan. You would have to wear the costume that says push me pull you on it so people know what the heck you were.
Careful where you go with that one, man.
We got some good Dr. Dolittle talk coming up on the next episode with author Mark Harris.
All right, I do want to make one correction from the newsletter. I omitted a costume that belongs to a guest of the podcast. I just forgot to add it on. It is, and Frank, don't say it. I want to see if these guys get it. It's from Ghostbusters, from the TV show.
Larry Storch Ghostbusters.
Right, the Larry Storch Ghostbusters. But this costume is based on the gorilla character.
Oh, it's Bob Burns.
Bob
Bob
Burns.
Burns, exactly. And honestly, what kid wouldn't want a costume with Forrest Tucker awkwardly drawn on?
Lurking at a fence. Good. That's good.
Or
Yeah,
they,
peeking over a fence, right?
Keep your Forrest Tucker jokes out of this.
and then in the 80s, they did a cartoon
Yeah.
show.
A lot of extra rayon on the Forrest Tucker costume.
Yes, extra roomy.
Extra roomy.
What is that prosthetic? Oh my God!
Hey, this one
All right,
comes
so
with
we
an
got to
accessory.
send the Corgo mask to Bob Burns, and we're going to send one of the shucks to one of the yo-yos to John. And there were other podcast guests represented by those Ben Cooper costumes. Were there not some that you do not have in your possession?
Yes, David McCallum.
Oh,
from
there's a
Man
Nuria
of Uncle- Man
Kuriakin.
from Uncle.
Right.
There was Mickey Dolenz costume of being the monkeys. And let me see who else was there. There was Henry Winkler as the Fonz.
there's a Fonz, right.
I actually sold that one off. I don't have that one on hand.
Okay.
And then let's see what else was there. Gabe Kaplan from Welcome Back, Kotter. I'm hot on the hunt for that one. It rarely comes up. It's a
How
hard
much is-
one to come by.
I'll see if Gabe wants one. How much would those go for?
The David McCallum Man from Uncle one that usually goes for about $100 or more because
Right.
you got cross collecting. You got the Man from Uncle,
Sure.
classic TV, spy collectors, and then Halloween collectors as well. Gabe Kaplan, $20.
$20 for the Gabe
That's
Kaplan.
it?
All right,
But
so again, it's worth buying and sending to Gabe as a fun little thank you for doing the
Yes.
show.
I believe so. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
But read the newsletter. There's a few others I don't recall at the moment. But it's
Okay.
Now, is he
little
going to be happy to get that, or is he going to be, I never got a check for this?
He's a strange cat, but somebody made a porno. Do you remember this, Josh? Somebody made like a
Oh,
Welcome
yeah.
Back Cotter porno thing, and I sent it to him.
Wait. I don't know about this.
Yeah, I'll find it. I'll
it's
email
out
it to you.
there.
It wasn't.
And in my research for
Or-
Twitter, I
Yeah.
stumbled upon a couple clips, and you can't unwatch it.
It's a guy. It's a 70s porn actor who's supposed to be Mr. Cotter, and the sweat hogs and the whole thing is the scenario. He had no idea of its existence. I thought he'd laugh, but I think he was just horrified.
Sure.
I will say that the company I work
Oh,
for,
Don't say tits.
we did release a 70s porno flick that's actually called "Let My Puppets Come."
Oh, I
So,
know that one.
I didn't give you a copy of that.
No, that's
I-
famous, but I know that. I know that
yeah.
film. I wrote a lot of puppet stuff in my life.
Not to be confused, of course, with Gums, the Brother Theodore starring
Yes.
Jaws parody that also has ejaculating puppets in it. But I
Wow.
thought I had, until tonight, I thought I had a pretty good misspent youth. But now I'm not going to stop thinking about how much I wish I could say I dressed up as the Jolly Green Giant and pelted someone's house with frozen peas.
Well, this is the place to make such a confession.
That would have actually enhanced my suburban upbringing. I can't deny it.
Hey, Greg, do you want to mention the Holy Grail of costumes
The Holy Grail of costumes.
or GGACP?
It's not Gabe Kaplan.
Oh.
Jesus.
Not Gabe Kaplan.
Another one that's on
Is
my
there an Alan
wish
Ladd?
list
Milty? Uncle
is
Milty?
the Hervé Villachez costume.
Oh my God!
That came out in the 70s.
Can you do that
And-
on a? Can you do that on a share screen? Do you have it?
No, I don't have it. I'm
Okay.
afraid
All
not.
right, so
There
we'll
is
tell
such a
people-
thing in existence, and the mask is fantastic. It looks just like him from his
We'll
tell
King
people
David
to do their own
early
research.
days. Yes.
And I believe it's a tease for the newsletter, but I believe, Greg, the montage you sent me, it's integrated in that, so everyone
Yes.
will get.
You can actually see a picture of it in the newsletter. Yeah, absolutely.
Greg, you are the king of show and tell.
Oh, thank you.
And we're going to do another Christmas Patreon episode this year, and you'll pull out the toys that you didn't show us last year.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So
Get the buying.
this was fun. Are we sending one of those yo-yo costumes to Shuck or what?
Yep. Send me the address. I'll drop it in a box. I'll have it before Halloween. He can dress
He'll
up
go-
as himself.
Just over the-
They didn't make a Holmes. They just made yo-yo.
Hey, where's your Richard Schull, man?
There were 13 episodes of this show made, if I'm not mistaken.
What disrespect!
Yo-Yo was the robot. He wants to dress
All
up
right,
as
we're
the
gonna
robot.
get out of here.
How would you like to have been it's Collegeville. At Collegeville, where they went through the process of making a mold and putting these into production, and by the time Halloween came around, the show was canceled.
I'll settle for this number of podcast guests in costumes, but I ask you, Greg, where's the Ruta Lee? Where's the Bob Smuda costume?
Yeah, sorry.
Where's the Jimmy Webb? We're gonna wrap this up. So I'll thank Twitter Josh Chambers. Josh, by the way, is also going to be voicing. You've heard it on several episodes. We redid it, but Josh will be recording closing credits for each show because he's got a lovely timbre and a lovely voiceover voice. So everybody's doing 6 things. Everybody's multitasking.
Yep.
Greg, what are you reaching down for?
Uh-oh.
I got a
forest
Birdman.
talker.
Oh,
Peter
it's
Potamus.
Birdman.
Hey,
And Peter Potamus.
did you get that thing? Did you get that thing I sent you? If you ever saw Harvey Birdman, attorney at law, you would get this.
Okay.
Which means that knowing the demographic of this podcast, nobody got that.
We got to do something. I think we got to do a whole Patreon episode one day about costumes and Ben Cooper and the whole history of this because it's just fascinating. It's a fascinating part of Americana. And for those of you who remember, Gilbert, on the Dino episode that's currently running, Gilbert revealed his Halloween scam. Did you hear that? He'd put on a Wolfman costume, or no, it was a pirate costume. And he'd go door to door and he'd load up on candy, and then he'd go home and change into a Zorro.
Oh, yes.
Go hit the same houses.
That's right.
Every-
If we can be
Go ahead.
serious now,
yeah.
I would like to
please.
show you my absolutely favorite one because I think it's a piece of workmanship.
Oh, look at that!
Oh,
The Universal Monsters Metaluna Mutant came out in the late 70s. And I think it's absolutely fantastic.
Look at that! Is that a Ben Cooper?
Nope, Collegeville. There is a full costume, a vinyl costume that goes with it, but right now I just have the mask.
Looks like the Mars Attacks characters.
It's from This Island Earth.
This Island Earth, yeah.
Yeah.
Is that glow in the dark, Greg?
Yeah, actually it does. I can see the slightly dark discoloring paint there in the middle there glows.
That's
How
so cool.
fragile are these? Is this plastic really getting brittle at this point or no?
Very fragile.
Yeah, I would think so. I would
Yeah.
think so.
fragile when we bought them do. I mean,
Yes,
come on.
they are. And as the plastic ages over the decades, it just becomes more and more brittle.
Hey,
It's difficult to
And
find any that, like this one is in really good shape for its age. And it's difficult to find these because they're just not stored properly. They're shoved in a box and tossed up in the attic and whatnot. And so they're perishable collectibles.
Yep.
Maybe you'll send 2 to the house, Greg, because the wife and I like to keep things spicy when we can.
Sure.
Sure, she can be Dazzler.
Yeah, pick Dazzler and Peter Potamus. That works.
Yeah, and you can be Underdog.
We'll make it work. 8 years of marriage. I want to thank you guys. This has been our what are we calling this? We'll call it Meet the Team / Halloween Costume History.
Beat the
Episode.
Schmendrick.
This is the little basket.
What did you say? Meet the Schmendricks?
Beat the Schmendrick.
This has been. I thank you guys again for being part of this. For the wind beneath this show's wings, and Josh Chambers, Dino Proserpio, Greg Pear, and our special guest tonight, Daniel Frank. Dan, was it worth the wait at all? Please lie to me.
No, it's great. It was great. This is
Greg,
not what I figured.
do we have one leftover costume that we could also send to Dan with a little apology written inside the mask?
Dan, do you hate Mondays? Do you love
And I
lasagna?
love lasagna. This is
There you go. A consolation prize. Win
you,
another
guys.
trivia contest and join us again.
Greg, thanks for the show and tell, as always. This
Sure.
is the September Patreon bonus episode. We are hard at work on the October. We will catch up, I promise. We're gonna do a horror Halloween thing for the October Patreon episode. We got a guest for that one. And guys, this was really entertaining and a fun hour. Thank you
Thank
so
you,
much.
Frank.
Thank
Thanks.
you, sir.
Yeah,
I
thank
hope
you.
it was fun. And everybody to the patrons, please enjoy the newsletter. Please come to Discord and interact with us. Greg.
I have to wear my
What is-
glasses on the
that
outside.
Horseshack?
Otherwise, I won't see where I'm going.
That's Beretta, right?
That's right.
It is
Robert
Beretta.
Lake.
Where's the bird?
No
Wow.
cockatoo. Number 3.
Cockatoo not
not going to
included.
have a bird. Come on.
I'm trying so hard not to make a wife killing joke. Right
Cockatoos with the Forrest Tucker costume.
So please, patrons, go to. I've lost complete control. This is like doing a show with Gilbert. Go to Discord. We're going to send out the information. Please join. We'll interact. It'll be a party, and also
two- There's 2 more projects in the works. 2 more big surprises coming up. And,
Oh, yes.
they'll be revealed when the time comes.
soon. And also, last but not least, we are sending a gift to every member of Patreon. I'm getting my Patreon and my patron transposed, but we are sending a specific gift in the mail to every person who supports the show on Patreon. So that's coming as well. My wife and I will be sitting in the living room, hand addressing 1,000 envelopes.
Use that
Oh.
sponsor that does shipping.
What's that? Yes, we should.
Yeah. Slash Gilbert.
That's
That's
sensible.
Gilbert. Go to
Use
there.
use the promo code. Thank you guys. This was a thrill and a kick, and thank you so much on behalf of Gilbert, who doesn't care, and and thousands and thousands and thousands of listeners for all that you have done for this show.
Well,
And
my
continue
pleasure.
to do. We'll see
Thank
you
you.
soon.